Call the meeting of the North Syracuse Board of Education to order. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. God, indivisible. Thank you. Going to begin with a moment of silence for the following. Frederick Haig III, a retiree of the North Syracuse Central School District. Yvonne Dempsey, a graduate of the North Syracuse Central School District. Genevieve Thayer, a retiree of the North Syracuse Central School District. Thank you. Okay, we have a presentation from the Sister North Syracuse High School Positivity Project. So I'm going to turn it over to Mrs. Bambino and your assistant. You're going to take it from there. We have a microphone somewhere. Yeah, we need to press the green button and or use that. Okay. We have a handheld mic. So the whole audience.
No problem. Okay. Hi, everyone. Thanks for having us. I'm Sarah Bambino. I'm the advisor for the CNS Positivity Project. This is Ethan Mivis, who is a rising senior and has been part of Positivity Project. Okay, longer than I've known you even, so. This way. Are you just going to click for me, Mike? Perfect. Perfect. Thank you so much. This picture is from the initial Positivity Project training at CNS High School back in 2018. That's actually Mike Irwin with us, who is one of the founders of the Positivity Project. At that point, we were able to train our entire staff as well as about 100 students. And we had some really great momentum going with the Positivity Project, and then COVID hit us. So through COVID, I had a solid group of maybe 8 to 12 that Zoomed with me through that whole year, came in on Wednesdays and did projects when they could. I will say, I think we're back up to about 60 members at this point. So those kids that helped us keep it going, it really has bounced back starting maybe last year. Generally, our Positivity Project looks at 24 character strengths. We recognize like our weaknesses, we recognize what we're good at, and the whole idea of it is self-awareness and that everybody has something that they bring to the table. And I like this part on the slide where it says it's not about ignoring the negative. Instead, it's about building some kind of resiliency around what happens when I don't feel like I completely can navigate this situation. I know I have some strengths that will guide me through it. This is our 24 character strengths. And that idea of character is that we are a combination of our thoughts, our feelings, and our actions. And what we really think about with Positivity Project often is, how do your actions, how are your thoughts, how are your feelings impacting the people around you? Our club works really hard to kind of brighten our school. And in the last 2 years, I would say we've worked really hard to get that message out into the community too, as well. So we don't have like a set time where we can meet with the entire student body. My dedicated students like Ethan, I see after school all the time because these are the kids that are doing like the legwork and are there for everything. We have some pictures Ethan's going to share with you in a second. You'll see him in like all of them. So we have some kids that really, really help to carry that message. But the things that we tend to focus on most when we're trying to get our message out to the school community are these other people matter mindset. There's so much we could do with all the strengths, but we have a really big school. So this is what we've like pared it down to of what we try to hit with all of our students. Identifying and appreciating the good in other people, knowing that your words and actions affect other people, cheering on successes of others. That's one that we've spent a lot of time talking about because I think it's human nature sometimes to feel like you're in competition or be jealous of someone else, and being able to cheer for people and support them in that way. Being present and giving other people your attention, that's a huge one with screen time, as we're with high school students, so we think about that often. And being there to support other people when they struggle as well. So this quote I actually have hanging in my room, and I use it quite a few times. Maya Angelou, I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. And that's something it's an overall good message, but it's something to think about every day when we're thinking about our words, our actions, and what we're able to give back to our school community. All right, so I'm going to turn it over to Ethan and let him tell you about some of what we do both in our school and in our community.
All right, so every year we get started in August and we're trying to think of what can we do for the upcoming school year to spread our message, what activities can we implement within the student body. And so this is some pictures from our August event. We do this every year. We have a little pizza party. We get all of our ideas going. We start the brainstorming for the year. And so yeah, we start with that every August, and that's just our planning day for the rest of the year. Let's see.
So this year we were actually invited by Clear Path for Veterans. They were looking for volunteers, and it turned out to be such a fun day. They called me and they were like, "We're doing this Dragon Boat fundraiser and we don't even really understand what it is or what we're doing, but can you help us?" And so that is exactly how I presented it to the kids, and they were like, "Yes." So we spent the entire day down at the Inner Harbor at the festival. And originally we were just supposed to be the dock marshals, and we were supposed to be helping people in and out of boats. And then we had whole teams that were like, "We don't have enough people." And the kids just started jumping in boats and helping and paddling. And the representative from Clear Path for Veterans actually said that our CNS Positivity Project volunteers like made the whole event. It's like people keep complimenting me on them all day, and I can't even take credit for them. So they really brought a lot of spirit to it.
Yes, so obviously we do a lot of things in-house at the high school to try and spread positivity, but I love that the Positivity Project does as much as we can to get out into the community. So in October, we went with the NSCA team for the breast cancer awareness walk that happens every October. So that's an example of us just going out into the community, showing our support, and that's some of the things we try to do with the Positivity Project. Oh, this is a really nice one. Every December, we do something called the Remembrance Tree Project, and we do this with another club at the high school called Productive Actions for Change, or PAC. And I mean, the holidays can be an emotional time, right? You know, we remember the ones that we've lost, the people that we love, and all of that. And so the idea with the Remembrance Tree, we usually hang it in the foyer. I mean, now it's under construction, so we put it somewhere else in the building. But the idea is you can put on a little sticky note something, a memory, a person that means a lot to you, stick it up on the tree. And it's just a moment of self-reflection that we do every December for everyone in the school. Yeah. Oh, everyone loves the dog event. Okay. So you all know that, you know, end of January Regents Week, where it's, you know, everyone's stressed out, Regents, midterms and all that. So the week right before, in the Career Center, we always have some dogs from Paws of CNY come in. And on your way to lunch, on your way back from lunch, stop into the Career Center and pet a dog. That's the idea. So that's literally all it is. And so Positivity Project always likes to sponsor that one. Everyone gets such, I mean, they just love the dogs. It's that simple.
That's well intended.
It is. All right, this one, we did a lot with it this year. We tried it last year and it was so much fun. So we expanded it this year with Principal's Cabinet as well. This is called the Human Dog Sled Race. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a dog sled race, except that it's humans instead of dogs. And so, you know, in your sled is a dog. Or, you know, I was dressed up as a corgi onesie, I think. And then you've got the humans, you know, running along with the sleds. And this is such a great event because it's all to help helping hounds, which of course we all love helping hounds. And so we were able to get 3 teams this year. We won 1st and 2nd place in the Positivity Project category. So just love it. We love the dogs.
We've been also in March celebrating the International Day of Happiness. It's a quick, easy way to kind of get kids to think about what they have that's positive in their lives. 2 years ago, we were able to take some of our club members to the junior high and coordinate that. This year at CNS, it was in-house only. We'd like to expand it. And this is one that's so simple and so easy. It's nice when we can bridge our kids with some kids from different schools within the district and work on that project together.
All right, so as I'm sure you all know what the Special Olympics is, but the Positivity Project takes a very active role in promoting that within the school. And then, of course, on the day of volunteering and helping to support all of the athletes. So we're making signs so that when all of our athletes were walking out of the building, we're cheering them on. We're there at the actual event cheering them on. And so the Positivity Project has taken a much more active role in the Special Olympics over the last couple of years. And then this is one we just did last month with Gigi's Playhouse. This is a wonderful event they do. It's Onondaga, what is it? It was Long Branch Park, sorry. And it's a wonderful run that they do. It's a great fundraiser. And so we were helping them out with the face painting and the lawn games and all that. I'd never done face painting before, but we made it work. It was tons of fun. The kids had a great time. And so it's, again, just Positive Project, getting out there in the community, having a good time. And then this is something we do all throughout the year. If you go into the high school, you know, like it's around, you know, the career center, right when you walk in under the bus overhang, we've got all those beautiful windows that display this, you know, gorgeous courtyard. And so for years, the Positivity Project has been painting them with positive messages, and we'll update it throughout the year, you know, holiday theme, spring theme, fall theme, you know, positive quotes, things like that to brighten up people's day. So.
This is not something that we did like for the whole school, but we did do an ice cream party to acknowledge our seniors. And because these seniors are so involved in everything, I left the picture up here thinking you all would probably enjoy seeing them. I'm sure you know some of these kids. So our full group meetings are the first Wednesday of each month, but as you can probably see from all the things that Ethan was showing everyone, there are a lot more opportunities to get involved. So there's a lot of times that we are having meetings that, you know, if you're able to help, come join us. If not, that's okay. We'll catch you when we can. And it is open to everybody. So this isn't something where you have to like apply or, you know, get a recommendation. Anyone can come. So we work to spread positivity throughout our school and our community. But we also know that by doing that, we kind of lift ourselves up too. So it's a lot of positivity for us too, being involved in all these things, and we really enjoy it. So I think that's it. Yes. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Questions?
I have a comment.
Questions or comments? Or-
Yes, I have a couple comments.
Yes. Okay.
So, I just want to say thank you, Mrs. Bambino, for everything you do to help facilitate all this. I know you can't take credit for the amazing kids that we have, but at the same time, you're kind of the overseer of everything, and that takes a lot. And I know I wouldn't be where I am today and all of my accomplishments without taking your teen leadership class back in 2016, 17. And it changed my life for the better. And I know you've changed countless students' lives for the better. I'm sure you can attest to that as well. And I'm so happy we have you in this district, and I know you have so much more to give, and I know you're excited to give so much more. So thank you so much for this. And secondly, I remember when this Positivity Project started, and I remember the window painting, walking through the halls. And trust me when I tell you, if you're having a bad day and you happen to look at these windows and it says keep on going or keep on keeping on, and I mean, it really does help. So the Positivity Project, I've experienced it. I've seen how it helps. And so thank you for everything that you both do.
Appreciate that. Thank you. Other questions?
Anything else?
Thanks.
All right,
everybody.
thank you. Okay, next we have the Teacher of the Year presentation that NSCA is going to come forward. Would you like me to read the little? I'd love to do that for you if I could. You have something? Okay, perfect.
Good evening, everybody. Each year, our school community nominates those who best represent the qualities of our staff. Those nominated are asked to complete an extensive summary of their education and experience, and gather letters of support from colleagues, administrators, and community members. This year, the nominees were Danielle Definian of Smith Road, Kathy Canese of Allen Road, Kathy Critchbaum of Roxborough Middle School, Karen Siemens of CNS, and of course, our Teacher of the Year. The North Syracuse Central School District Teacher of the Year Committee then convenes to choose an individual who best represents our faculty. The committee includes past Teachers of the Year, including Amy Heisick of CNS, Colleen O'Connor from Roxborough Middle School, Lisa Goldberg, who now serves as our Director of SEL, along with John Carilla of NSCA, Linda Condon from Smith Road, and Kathy Wheeler, Principal at Cicero L. During the interviews, finalists are asked a range of questions on their teaching experiences, challenges facing the profession, and their vision of the future for our students and for public education. The committee considers the finalists' written and presentation skills along with their professional resume and their work with colleagues, students, families, and the community. The North Syracuse Central School District Teacher of the Year Committee is delighted to name Lydia Roldan, ENL teacher at CNS, as our Teacher of the Year. Suffice it to say, Lydia is an exceptional educator. She has distinguished herself in her ability to connect with students, families, and staff members, meeting all where they are. Using students' native language as a way to foster inclusion and understanding and to build student confidence. Supporting families as they navigate new environments and new systems. And partnering and supporting colleagues to extend understanding of ENL students and their experience in our schools and community. Lydia has a wealth of experience volunteering locally, nationally, and internationally. At this time of rapid expansion in our community, we are truly lucky to have Lydia with us and representing us. We look forward to Lydia moving ahead next year in the New York State Teacher of the Year competition. Congratulations, Lydia.
Just
was going to read something.
just briefly before Lydia, you can work your way up here, just that Lydia worked for us at North Syracuse in English Language Arts. I think Mr. Cleary mentioned that at both the junior high and CNS. She's been a part of, excuse me, just her passion for teaching and her commitment to supporting English language learners have made a profound impact on our students and staff alike. I just want to mention, I know Mr. Cleary is going to be angry at me, but he left off that he chairs the committee and he also is a former North Syracuse Teacher of the Year. So, thank you. I knew you'd be mad. Look at that.
Lydia, on behalf of the Board of Education and myself, we want to recognize you as the Teacher of the Year for the North Syracuse Central School District. And we have a certificate here that's recognizing all of your hard work. I've seen it in person, and what you do for students and the families is just amazing. And we want to make sure that we show our recognition and appreciation. So thank you so much.
Good luck going forward.
You want to say?
Okay, if that's not enough, we're going to do math now. That's the best introduction you get. So Mr. Schultz is going to come up and tell us about the 8th grade math and algebra curriculum recommendation. A little presentation.
Yeah, I should not go after that, but that's okay. 2 years ago, we started out on a pathway of really trying to figure out what it looked like to explore a curriculum resource at the 8th grade through 12th grade level. About a year ago, we made a decision to pilot 2 curriculum resources, one of them being called Carnegie Learning, the other one being called Desmos 6A1, which is now Desmos Amplified. And we decided to pilot it only at 8th grade in Algebra 1, based on one of them only having 8th grade in Algebra 1, not geometry in Algebra 2 at the time. The teachers that I have at the junior high did nothing short of really amazing work in piloting both of these curriculum resources, neither of which I will tell you and stand up here and tell you that they were easy. I think both of them had their challenges. Both of them required some really intentional thought to implement and support our students. And we have had many conversations around that. And we've had those conversations. We've looked at a rubric. I encourage all of you guys, all of you have this memo with the timeline in there. If you look at the rubric results, it will show you not only the teacher comments, there's 2 tabs in there, but also the scores based on the results of the scores based on these 2 curriculum resources. We've recognized along the way that there's really kind of 3 things that make it so that this is not an adoption where we are saying the expectation is you are doing 180 lessons, lesson 1 all the way through lesson 180, and you are not adapting, you're not thinking anything other than that. Right now, the adoption that we're moving forward with is Desmos Amplify, and Desmos does not have a New York State set curriculum resource. They're currently working on one for New York City, and I've asked to be a part of that so that would be perfectly, well, it would be aligned to the New York State standards. All resources are aligned to standards. It just means that there's certain nuances based on state standards that require you to supplement and support a curriculum resource. So that may have to be done. We also recognize that curriculum resources expect a student to come in on level. And so you have to think about what are the supports and scaffolds that you need to provide a student to ensure that they can get there, which means that we need to support that aspect of things. And the last thing is to recognize the work that our teachers have done up until this point. We have teachers who have created some really great activities, really great work. And I don't want to just say that we're coming in and throwing all of that work away. I think over the course of this summer and then in our collaborative team time next year, the plan is to look closely not only at this curriculum resource as the main, what I've used the term skeleton, through which we kind of build everything else off of. And then we supplement where needed, and we really support and kind of create something that we think will provide the very best opportunity for our students. I stand up here and I don't want it to be known, or I don't want to come off saying that everyone is super excited about this. There are teachers that are concerned about this. There are teachers that are concerned about the fact that both curriculum resources had flaws. However, I also believe that sometimes as we look forward, as we think about some of the professional development that we've been receiving, as we think about what's next in math instruction, I think that this is the best way forward. And I think it can provide our students. Well, I'll leave you with this. There was in our University of Rochester PD, when we started 2 years ago, we all came up with a wordle about what we really wanted our students to be when they graduated CNS. And the #1 word that came is problem solver. And I believe that this curriculum resource really helps our students become problem solvers.
I have a question. Just, can you hear? Because I can't hear myself.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. Because we've been through pilots before with ELA, and unless I've missed something, I know we had a reference to this in a recent letter that this was coming to us today. You just referenced a report with a rubric. Where would I
say that? Yeah.
You just referenced a report with a rubric to look at comments?
Yeah,
Where would I find that?
Okay, so there are 2 places that you can find that. In the memo on the 2nd page, it says rubric data with comments. It's highlighted to be clickable. And then on the page under May 17th in the timeline, it says the rubric that was used as a Google form. And then it says the term rubric results, and you can read the rubrics or
That's in
results
the,
there.
and I'm sorry, because that,
All right.
I guess I'm still a rookie after 9 years at the Friday Letter. There's clickable links in here
There are clickable links. Yeah.
in the I'm sorry, in the paragraph about algebra curriculum. Or is it in an addendum?
It's under where it says concerns.
I'm looking at it right now.
Oh, okay.
That's where it is. Okay, I'll get this figured out. Okay, it's not that I don't
I
trust you.
understand.
I just usually look
Yeah, I
at these
understand.
things ahead of time before I see them, and I did not find that. Perfect. Thank you. Any other questions?
Oh, it's in the Friday letter.
There's a paragraph in the Friday Letter, but not the reference to that. It's in a different section. Yes, that's,
It shouldn't have been in tonight's report.
Yeah, it is, but it's in a different.
well, that was my point, Bob. I would,
Oh,
okay.
I did look at it.
It'd be easier for me to see it in the report presentation than I did not know to look because I don't think we do this that often. So. Not your fault, Nick. Thank you. My fault for,
Can I ask my question now?
there it is. Okay.
Yeah, so we're stopping at algebra. I'm sorry, Xavier.
Hi.
Hello.
So when you say, so I'm going to school for teaching. So I'm going to,
I'm going to come.
I'm going to
Is that
school for
okay?
teaching. So we kind of learn when we're in school that kind of all curriculum has flaws. When per se, like no curriculum is going to be perfect to every single teacher out there. When you say flaws, are these detrimental flaws or are these workable? Like you just kind of got to go over the hump flaws where it's going to be smooth sailing in the future.
Yeah. So I don't think that they're detrimental flaws. I think that there are things that for instance, there's certain topics that may be like in 8th grade, maybe a post-test topic. So we need to move that to a different time. There may be a requirement or not requirement. Desmos has is based as a digital platform, and therefore you can get too computery with it. Students spending too much time in front of a computer. And so we have talked about what it looks like to not do that. And Desmos has also responded to that, and they are creating a workbook that is also 100% paper-based as well, so that it's not just dealing with that. There are, and one of the things that we've really talked about is ensuring that we are still aligning to our assessments, the New York State assessment in 3 through 8 for 8th grade, as well as the algebra regents. And therefore, we will need to look at those regents questions because the curriculum resource may ask a question, but the nuance of how it is asked in New York State on a New York State assessment may sound a little bit different. So we need to ensure that we're putting those types of questions in our common formative assessments and that type of thing.
And then my other question is more of just like a clarification. So when I was in school, Desmos was just like an online graphing calculator. So it's expanded into actual curriculum now.
So that's a good question. So Desmos split. There is Desmos, the graphing calculator, that is kind of something completely separate. And then Desmos created a curriculum from 6th grade through Algebra 1. And then Amplify bought that side of it. And so Amplify, and now they've expanded it to K5, and they're eventually going to be expanding to Geometry and Algebra 2. And so that is now owned by Amplify. So it's called Desmos Amplify.
Josh?
So on that, I do have a question. So you're saying that right now, the pilot only has algebra 1?
8th grade and Algebra 1.
Right.
Yeah.
So in the meantime, while we're waiting, presumably for them to develop the algebra 2 and geometry, what exactly is the plan as far as what those teachers are going to be putting out in the classroom?
So that's a great question. The original plan was to then pilot this year for Geometry and Algebra 2, and then with a following implementation the following year. That cannot be done. And the main reason that that cannot be done is that they do not have a full Algebra 2 geometry curriculum resource yet. They are in kind of, we'll call it beta version. or alpha version. And so they will have a couple units ready this year. Those couple of units we will look at with the Algebra 2 and Geo teachers, but we will have to push that off for another year before we go down that track.
So on that, do you anticipate any gaps that we should be expecting as far as the students who will be, and I know that the students piloted it this year, so there will be some gaps anyway, but as far as the students that are going to be getting into this program in 8th and 9th grade, will they end up seeing any sort of difference in what they are looking at once they get into 10th grade and beyond?
Sure. That's the greatest downfall of not being able to do what I was hoping to be able to do. And so what will happen is there will be a group of students who leave the junior high next year after going through, Desmos in 9th grade, and we'll be moving up to Algebra 2, and we'll be using the teacher-created resources that currently exist as the curriculum resource that is out there. So I wouldn't use the term gap, because when you speak of the term curriculum, those are the standards that we all agree upon, are the standards through which we'll teach this instruction. This is a curriculum resource, just like the curriculum resource that they're currently using. And I'll say one other thing, that I had a conversation with our high school teachers on Friday. It's really hard to take our current curriculum resource and run it through a rubric, kind of the same way that we tried to do these two other curriculum resources, because of so many different things, and our ability to, the fact that we're not as aligned as I think that we can be. One of the things that, I said that 8th grade and algebra did a really great job in going through these curriculum resources. They did a really great job because of their collaboration. They had some instructional conversations of the likes that, I've gotten to sit on a lot of professional learning communities and collaborative teams in the district. And I thought they really took this head on. Even if they didn't like it, they really made a really great effort at it. And I thought grew a lot in our conversations around instruction.
Are other states in the district or in the other districts in the state using this?
Yeah.
Okay.
There are other districts in the state. So JD uses this at both 8th grade and algebra. Also, Baldwinsville just signed on to work with Desmos. I can't tell you exactly the grade levels at Baldwinsville, but I know that they are starting. I think that they are maybe like 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. I don't think that they're doing it with algebra yet. And Desmos is I'll say gaining a little bit of momentum around that. But those are the two that I can tell you right now that are using it. For the most part, at the 9-12 level, there are not many high schools that have a curriculum resource out there. Most of them are teacher-created materials.
Thomas.
So I know that you said that a big factor of trying out and ultimately implementing the Desmos Amplify curricula was for problem solving. Do you think maybe you could elaborate a little bit on what makes Desmos Amplify more enticing than the pre-existing curriculum in the junior high?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. When we signed up and have been working with the University of Rochester so closely, one of the main things that we've talked about is building student understanding through the conceptual focus first. So building their conceptual understanding, and with that comes procedural knowledge, rather than the reverse of that. And I won't say that our teachers don't do that. I think our teachers actually really think about how students learn and have a really high level of pedagogical content knowledge, I'll say. However, what we've talked about is saying, what does it look like to actually think about how a student learns a topic really at the conceptual level? And I think Desmos does that. So the platform through which Desmos used and kind of built their curriculum resource is a platform called Illustrative Mathematics. Illustrative Mathematics was originally written by the individuals who first kind of developed the Common Core state standards. and wrote the progressions documents out in Arizona. And illustrative mathematics really has built itself up around student tasks and student thinking and student problem solving. And so to answer your question, Desmos is built with that as their framework. And therefore, that's what they would kind of hang their hat on, is this is a curriculum that is based around problem solving. One of the things that scored low in the rubric on Desmos is that there's not enough practice. And so our teachers really recognize that students still need what I call kind of a two-branded rope, conceptual understanding and procedural knowledge to be a really fulfilled math student. They're feeling, teachers, and I would actually second their feeling, that there's not enough practice and building of their procedural knowledge. So that's also something that we'll have to consider in terms of supporting this curriculum resource.
Thank you.
Matt?
Just a couple of things. First, thank you for your honesty. I'm sure the teachers that were in the pilot appreciated your honesty. I'm sure their fellow teachers appreciate it. I'm sure their parents at home appreciate your honesty. I'm looking at the numbers here. Unfortunately, I did the same thing Paul did. I didn't see it in the upper, so I didn't actually see it. So I'm kind of skimming quick.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Now, these numbers are what? 0 to 5, 0 to 4. You might have said that already.
No, I don't think I said it. 1, 2, 3, 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so 0. Okay.
There's
Did you
not
guys-
not a 0. So
Not a
there's
zero,
not an
1,
option of 0.
1 through
Yes,
4, sorry.
1 through 4.
I
Yeah.
like to do zeros because zeros and ones are my thing. Sorry. So, and when you started the pilot, was there like an actual cutoff to when you would have bailed on both of these?
Say that again.
Was there a lowest level that you might have bailed on both of these? You know what I'm saying? Just because you do a pilot doesn't mean you have to pick one or the other. I'm just curious if there was ever even that conversation about, you know, at what point do we bail on both of these? I'm not saying they're worthy of bailing. I'm just saying, I'm just curious.
Every teacher in the audience and every teacher at home wants to know that question. Because I don't know. I don't know if I could tell you that. There wasn't anything that I went in and said, man, if it goes below this threshold, we cannot do this. I thought I saw some really great things in classrooms, and I thought I saw some really great work as teachers working together collaboratively. And it was pretty clear through conversations as well as the rubric that Desmos was the higher choice. I won't say the best choice, I'll say the higher choice. And I think when we consider the resources that we're currently using, I think if we were to have a resource that grounded all of us, and therefore we could build from that grounding, I think we could do some really great things.
No, thank you. I like I said, you're doing some really good work with the math program. I've seen, you know, Mr. Crabtree can attest, everybody here can attest, some of the numbers are going up, and I appreciate the hard work that you guys put into it and your concern, right? And your care. You care about making these programs work. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll say I care about my math teachers too, and they might not feel it right now. It's been a very, very hard couple of weeks as we've had some really difficult conversations.
Well, appreciate that. Thank you.
And anyone else? Thank you. I trust you. I trust the process, and the results in the math program that the last few years speak for themselves. I say that first because the next part's not going to sound really nice, but it's not a reflection on you. And it's back to what Matt just said. As I look at this, I feel like I screwed up, but I'm opening up a 4-page document with no less than 30 links on it. The Board of just as we go forward, the Board of Education, I think, needs something condensed down that is more appropriate for lay people to read. I mean, I've read rubrics. I did do this before, and I could sift through this as I look at it. But when I go to look at the rubric, it brings me to the Google Doc, and I actually have to go through and rate it. So I'm not even seeing that in a quick look. I suppose I could look better. I think at this level, we need to see an overview simpler as we go forward. Just my thought. And I'm just sharing that with you. You hopefully won't be coming back with a pilot recommendation anytime soon, because we have one, unless it's for something upper. But 30 links in a document, and I missed that. That's on me, but if I didn't miss it, I don't know if that's what I should be looking at. Just my comment for the future.
It's fair.
And I'm sorry. You're doing a great job though, Nick. And I like the navy suit and the tie and everything. That's just. I know, thank you. Okay. I'm lost, just a second. Here we are.
Comments.
Okay, we're at comments from the public. And as we all know here, the board does set aside a amount of time for comments from the public. We do want to hear from the community. We allow 3 minutes. I don't know where the 6 came from, 3 minutes per person. And we have one speaker tonight, and that is Heather Calabria. So Heather, you've been here before. You come on up. Jill, our clerk, is going to time that for 3 minutes. And as always, if you'd like to leave anything written with Jill, she'll make sure the board receives that, especially if you don't make it through your entire comments. Thank you. When you're ready.
Good evening. I've waited a few weeks to come to these meetings, as the last time I was here, it was so distasteful and horrifying to the future of our country. I've come here tonight as I need you to know that now that my son is graduating and he had a normal growth and development of a senior, the senior year is so critical for kids for so many reasons. It's really a time of reflection and maturation and rite of passage to adulthood. My oldest son was denied that due to the scandemic of 2020, and we have never received an apology. We, the parents, will not forget what you did, as it matters. The kids matter, and apologies for mistakes matter. Not only did those kids suffer of not having a normal year of maturation and a rite of passage, you have the audacity to thank the person in the White House for the COVID money. I really don't know how you can find peace within yourself to continually put money before the best interests of the children. I would rather my moral compass than have money, and I would much rather be poor and homeless and have my integrity and righteous truth to stand by. This continues to be so much destruction of our children and their future. I pray every day for our sanity to come back. What you are promoting is beyond not morally sound. You are trying to teach 5-year-olds sex education and pronouns, which is disgusting. There are 2 sexes, and that is it. Children do not need to know about sex before puberty or constantly asked how they are feeling and told they can change their sex. The constant division of diversity, equity, and inclusion is another immorally corrupt way of destroying our children. Is exactly the reason for the protesting, rioting, and demoralization of the Jews. DEI is exactly why there is so much controversy surrounding Caitlin Clark, who is a great athlete. Maybe you should actually listen to Morgan Freeman and stop talking about race. Not only is the senior year of learning government and economics imperative for adults in society to be civil citizens, you are not even teaching civics at all. I can bet the majority of your students do not even know their rights. Civics is not being a social activist. Civics is learning your responsibility of contributing to society, knowing your rights, and understanding the importance of voting. If the kids were actually taught their rights, they would actually know that everything you are doing is unconstitutional and against the Republic of the US. I am sure that is actually what scares you. You don't want kids to know you are continually violating their rights. We are not a democracy, as we are a republic, and knowing that matters. Knowing that you have unenumerated rights, and the rights are given to us by our Creator and not by government and school officials. All of your administrative agencies are unconstitutional, and I can't wait to make this country great again and eliminate the Department of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we're at Board of Education Committee reports. I'll start with Mr. Thorne, if there is a report.
There isn't one yet. We're still waiting on the policy manual from everyone BOCES, so.
Okay, and we probably have that coming for the organizational meeting, hopefully. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I'm having trouble.
We're still waiting for the Erie One BOCES manual. The final draft.
Right, every year we readopt whole manual, but our other one stays in effect until, okay. But good news, we made it through everything and it should be in there. So thank you, Mark, to you and your committee for getting that. That was an aggressive agenda. Ambitious, aggressive agenda. Thank you. Mr. Crabtree,
Okay,
anything on legislation?
finishing up the year, Legislative Committee, the challenge was proposed that if we got more people to vote in, May, that Mr. Crabtree would take a loan out and take the committee out for pizza. And thank you to the community for more voters this year. But I personally want to thank the entire committee, but especially the students tonight. And isn't it interesting that Mrs. Bambino had some of these students up on her, because they've just been outstanding. Joey Koala, Brady Quilt, Joey Calabric, how you say, yep, and Emerson Herrera. All four of these students were amazing this year. They weren't afraid to ask questions. They weren't afraid to tell our legislators how they felt about certain things. So I feel, as Mrs. Hill does, that we have a great student body. And I would turn it over to my three board members. Is there anything you would like to say about legislative? I'll start with Xavier.
I think we had a great year. I appreciate you for the little pizza thing we had. There's a lot coming down the pipeline that we need to focus on coming up for next session, and including the budget. And I'm really looking forward to next year. So thank you for Mr. Crabtree for being a wonderful chair, and see you soon.
I can't say much more than Xavier said. It's a great committee. We get to touch base with people that we normally would never get a chance to touch base with, at least get our opinions and our thoughts and our concerns to them. And Mr. Crabtree always does a great does a great job every month organizing it and making sure that we're on the right subjects and we're talking about things that really concern the school district. Thank you.
Yep, and I'll just add, and Mr. Crabtree brings this up, but there aren't any districts I know in the area that have a legislative committee, a standing committee with community members, teachers, Board of Ed, and students. And I think that puts us in a great place to have this well organized, because as was alluded to over here by Xavier, budget cycle is not going to get any simpler, especially next year from what we hear down the road. There is already work with the Roosevelt Institute studying a change in the foundation formula that is needed but scary. And so I'm glad we have this in place. And we have, in the past several years, had very supportive legislators who send representatives. We have their ear, and I think that puts North Syracuse Central School District in a good position. And I thank you, Mr. Crabtree, for taking this committee and evolving it and continuing to evolve it and look for new ways for us to have an impact. So hopefully we can do more going forward. And now we're at Board of Education comments. I clicked off of the superintendent's, but I will back up. I'll back up.
Okay.
Superintendent Bowles.
Thank you. Was not as busy a week, but exciting. We are the proud recipients of the New York State champions in women's lacrosse at our high school. They beat Fairport 12-8. This has not happened since 1996, and our coach was on that team at the time when that took place. So that was very special. Bob, I'll let you have that one that you went to. Dollar. Okay. But Friday was Flag Day. There was a celebration at Lakeshore. They have it every year. And one of our brightest students, Ava Tyler, was performing. And again, she is going to school in Manhattan for performance, and she's just, again, continues to be outstanding. So again, that was a wonderful performance by her. Along with that, we had some athletes in track and field, in girls 4x100. Maya Hayes, Jaden Mackey, they placed in the 4x1, and Grace Murray, Stephanie Todd. They placed second in Division One. Anna Els high jump placed third in Division One. And Joe Main shot put placed fourth in Division One and seventh in the Federation. So congratulations to all our athletes. They did a phenomenal job at the end of the year.
Thank you. I just want to circle back. The policy committee owes a huge debt of thanks to our beloved district clerk, Jill, without whom we would not look to nearly as organized and probably would not have gotten through this manual.
I second that. Thank you. Going next. David.
This is more of a community-based thing, but I was able to attend the opening of the Williams Beach splash pad this past Thursday last week. And it was phenomenal. I mean, I grew up going to Williams Beach before the algae started to bloom, and I created so many memories there. And driving past it these last few years, not seeing kids play, like, just broke my heart. So to be able to have that back for, especially for this upcoming heat wave, I really hope kids can get out there. Just because it's great to have that for our community. So if you haven't checked it out yet, I highly recommend it. Every Thursdays they have bands, they have foods. It's something that our community really, really desperately needed at that beach. So I thank you for the town of Cicero. Thank you to the New York State Assembly for giving us some money for that. And yeah, thank you.
Okay.
All I'll say is congratulations to the girls lacrosse team.
My turn yet or yours? I have to do mine last because it's,
You know, we are so fortunate to have a superintendent is so positive. And every week there's something that's positive in this district. Mr. Bill Irwin was a social studies teacher at Roxborough Road Middle School. He still volunteers. And I don't know how many years he's been retired. I want to say over 15 years. And he works on the, help me out, Dan, courtyard. And at Memorial Day, you had to see the different flags of the services. He's amazing what he does. And he works with the students from that school to do it. I just, he's a great person. You know him. I just wanted to that. All right, BOCES. I know I'm not on the agenda for that until next month, but I wanted everybody to know that 639 seniors graduated from OCM BOCES programs in both Onondaga, Madison, and Cortland counties. And out of those students, 80 came from North Syracuse. Some were in New Vision, health occupations, automobile tech, but that is too to our superintendent, who when he came in here believed in BOCES and believed that there are other ways, paths for students to go. So I want to thank you for that. And I'm just amazed, 639 graduates on that. And I know Thomas is going to speak next, but if everybody looked in their onboard magazine, a bill came before the Assembly and also the Senate that students must be on the school board. It's mandatory that starting in 2 years that students are going to be on the school board. And we're fortunate to have our young lady here today that will be joining us. So we're ahead of the game in that students, and Tom, thank you for being on the school board. Last are sports. So yes, being on BOCES school board, I get an opportunity to go to the Scholar Athlete Awards, which were last week. Dr. Cook and I went, and over 1,000 athletes were there from every school district in Section 3. And two of our students were honored. Madison Brefka, she played field hockey and she played flag football, and she invited her flag football coach to join her. And Andrew Mediasic in hockey and in tennis was honored. What a great evening with over 1,000 athletes. And that's the end of my report.
Before you go, I just want to thank Bob for running Dollars for Scholars last week. It was a great ceremony to see so many kids receive scholarships from so many people across the community. So thank you, Bob, for putting that on and making it such an efficient event. I know, but you run it very well.
You're
Thank
the
you.
MC and you did a nice job. And Thomas, I just want to say a few words about you before you speak, if you don't mind. Not that I know you really well, but you've been a pioneer from what Mr. Crabtree just talked about, so that's a lovely segue into just congratulating you for being a senior, graduating, but for being our first ever student ex officio member of the school board. As Mr. Crabtree mentioned, it's becoming, a regulation or a law in the state. When the governor signs it, it'll come into effect in the 25-26 school year, but we made some inroads and it wasn't an easy process here in North Syracuse. There was a lot of committee meeting and a policy development. Some people a little skittish because they're afraid of you. I don't know, but I think you ran with something that had no real definition. You kind of defined it and been a pioneer. And I'm confident Ms. Fernandez here is going to take that and evolve it even further. So I thank you for stepping up to do this. I really do. I'm sure it's not easy, but you've done a great job in my opinion, and you've brought us some little tidbits of life at the high school that I think we needed to hear. I'm going to read a little bit about a plaque we're going to give to you. Thomas Willis, an inner light, no matter how faint, when nurtured, it says natured, when natured by knowledge, truth, patience, and belief, grows bright through education and can light a child's way for a lifetime. This is in recognition and appreciation for your dedication, hard work, and caring for the students, staff members, and community. As a student ex officio member of the North Syracuse Central School District Board of Education, 2023-24. And it's interesting, when I talked about this at home, I found out that my wife who's now retired, was a first grade teacher. Thomas was a student in her class. And she's been pleased to see things you've done, the presidential scholarship or presidential award, whatever it's called. You can tell us when you go. You're going soon, correct? In the near future, which is a wonderful thing. I could go on, but I thank you for that. And I'm just going to present this with you informally. I'm going to give you the box in case you want to. And of course, now that you're all choked up, it's your turn. Can you recycle that box if you don't use it.
Yes, I'll make sure to do
I'm
that.
sure you will, though.
Thank you again for the recognition. For tonight, I want to highlight a couple things. The North Syracuse Junior High School Chorus had a concert the week of the previous board meeting. It was pretty awesome. This previous week, during the last week of school, at CNS, they did a little film festival after school. It was more so of an informal demo of it. They did in the classroom. A bunch of students throughout the school came together and made some short films together, a variety of genres. It was pretty awesome. They're hoping to expand that some in the coming years. And then another thing I wanted to just talk about today was I know Mr. Crabtree and really the whole board has talked quite a bit about BOCES to this past year of me being here on the board, and I just wanted to talk some about hands-on courses at CNS. So I think that going forward, we not only need to support the variety of BOCES programs for our students, but also to sustain or even increase implementation of hands-on education at CNS. Yes, many thrive in hands-on learning, but I'm willing to bet that there's at least 50 to 100 students right now at CNS where this is in fact the case, but they don't just know it yet. Maintaining the incorporation of experimental and hands-on learning in both elective and core classes is key to providing an experience for our students that has them leave this district with the seeds planted for a rich and diverse skill set. By having hands-on curricula at CNS, we offer a middle ground between BOCES and raw academics, letting students better feel out what works with them to suit their own unique needs. Yeah. Before I end this, I just also wanted to introduce the rising senior Azariah as upcoming ex officio student board member. Congratulations on the position. Looking forward to see how you work with it in the coming fall. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, if I could get a motion for the approval of the minutes of the June 3rd board meeting, motion from Mr. Thorne, second from Mr. Marizio. Any discussion on that? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Motion, please, to group B, C, and D together. A motion from Mr. Ludden, second from Mr. Grew. These are the consideration and classification of disabled students for in-school, preschool, and home instruction. So we have items B, C, and D moved in before us. Any discussion? Comments? Seeing none. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Declaration of marketable and non-marketable surplus. Motion, please put that in front of us. Motion from Mr. Thorne, second from Mr. Ludden. Any question? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. And we have a vehicle bonding resolution that will be a roll call vote. If I can get a motion, please place that before us. Mr. Thorne, second from Mr. Marizio. Okay, any discussion before the roll call vote on that? Questions? Seeing none? Aye. 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 Okay, that is carried unanimously. Thank you. Yes, sir. Oh, yeah, well, good point. Yes, this is a bond on the buses that was approved by the voters in the last budget vote. Correct. It's a good point. Thank you. Thank you, Matt. Item B, please, approval of lease agreement for St. Margaret's. So motion to put that before us. Motion from Mr. Marizio, second from Mr. Grew. Any questions there?
I would hope that by the end of August that the board would have a tour of St. Margaret's, and so we see what is happening at the building before the Lake Shore people or the students start in September.
Thank you. For August 27th. Okay, seeing no other discussion, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Any acceptance of the internal audit report? Motion to put that before us. Motion, Mr. Thorne, second from Mr. Grew. Any question? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. And item D, acceptance of the Board of Ed Special Review Committee's final report. A motion to place that before us. Mr. Ludden, second from Mr. Thorne. You have that report before you. We think we had time to look at before. Do we have any questions about that? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to make a comment and thank the committee who read everything that was on there and for all your hard work for the community.
I'd like to make,
Yes, sir.
along with Josh, I want to thank Doreen Bergman from OCM BOCES who led this committee, which the committee had parents, teachers, administrators, and students on it. And it was overwhelmingly accepted. So thank you to those people.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion or questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. A lot of work there. Motion, please put E before us. Request to improve adoption of the Desmos Amplified Curriculum for eighth grades algebra. Motion, Mr. Crabtree, second from Mr. Ludden. Any discussion? We saw that presentation. Okay, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. And resolution to create 3.0 teaching assistants for special education students. Motion from Mr. Thorne, second from Mr. Ludden. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. And a consideration of the contract award for the plumbing contract. G, item G, motion from Mr. Ludden. A second, please, Mr. Thorne. Any discussion, questions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Acknowledgement of gift. Motion, please place that before us. Motion from Mr. Moody Woosick, second from Mr. Ludden. That is before us. Just wanted to point out that gift is in memory of Frederick Haig, who was referenced earlier in our memorial part.
And music in this school district in the 70s. Sorry. I had the fortune to know him, and also he taught NICET courses for NICET, but great man, and was instrumental in this music program in this district.
Thank you. Yes, I used to share a copy machine space with him at the office when he did the ELT courses for NICET. He did a travel course for many years too. Very energetic. Yeah. Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Thank you. And approval of the intermunicipal cooperation agreement with the Franklin Essex Hamilton Board of Cooperative Educational Services. Item I, a motion to put that before us. Mr. Ludden, second from Mr. Thorne. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. And this is an acknowledgement of 4 retirements. We have Sandra Camiso, bus driver, retiring with 35.5 years of service. Carolyn Nicoletti, teaching assistant, retiring with 20.3 years of service. Scott Dunn, automotive mechanic, retiring with 25.2 years of service. And Daniel Bowles, superintendent, retiring with 27 years of service. And thank all those for all that service. It's a lot of service in that recognition piece, and I will not say anything more at this point, but I might add personnel report C. Any other comments? Seeing none, instructional report A, please. Mr. Thorne to move that, Mr. Ludden second. That is before us. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. B, instructional support staff. Motion, Mr. Ludden, second from Mr. Thorne. That is before us. No questions? Okay, comments? All in favor? Opposed, and that is carried. Administrative personnel report. A motion, please place that before us. Motion from Mr. Marizio, second from Ms. Segru. That is before us. On that report, we have an amendment to a previous action on the last board meeting. I apologize, Mr. Villeneuve. Did I pronounce that right? Because you're being hired today as we acknowledge and recognize and accept the retirement. I shouldn't call it a resignation, but the retirement of our superintendent. So I don't want to take away from your whatever it is, parade, and we'll greet you, I think, you're going to come back on the 8th, I heard. So that'll be great. We'll be happier then. I just didn't want you to, I wanted to acknowledge that you're being hired we're not firing him, by the way, he's retiring. And I did hear rumors around the district that, the board fired Mr. Bowles. If it happened, I wasn't here that day. But there's not enough I could say here. I'm just doing this for one purpose only, and that's to make Mr. Bowles uncomfortable. Because I'm uncomfortable having him leave. I think came to us in 2019 as superintendent. He'd been here several years. And we haven't voted on this yet, so nothing's done. We'll get it done though, Damon, don't worry. It's weird because was elected president in 2019, the same year Dan was elected, or not elected, but hired, sorry. That's what this board does as superintendent, and everything was awesome in 2019 in the summer. Everything was awesome in September. We had a nice kickoff and big meeting with the whole staff, and everybody was happy because they didn't know me, and Dan, they knew Dan, and we went along happy and silly until around March of 2020, when the county executive, as a matter of fact, through the governor, said, you can't go to school anymore. And we thought it was going to be just a couple of weeks, and it was, and everybody went through this, but I just have to say, as a board president with a new superintendent, to go through the unknowns, and we kept using the term, uncharted territory, unprecedented, till people got sick of the words unprecedented and said, don't say that anymore, but it was scary. It was a trying time because everybody was stressed, and we made it through that. And Mr. Bowles showed the ability to be flexible and understand he needed to do what was right for the culture, the climate, and the overall community. And I think we did things differently than other districts around here, but we did what worked here. Not everybody was happy, but we got through it. And I'll tell you right now, for somebody who lost a family member in COVID, it was real. And I'm just going off personally because nothing irritates me more than when I hear people talk about it not being real. More and more, the distance we get from it, it's insulting. But we made it through here. And a lot of that had to do with your leadership through the next year and afterwards, and it's in the rearview mirror. But obviously, we all know it still impacts us. And Dan's been instrumental in keeping SEL in the front and center here to help repair what it's going to take a long time if we ever get there, to be honest with you. So we're still on item C. And we have a motion and a second.
Can I
and
make a comment?
Spoke to it, and I'll stop for now.
Sorry, Dan. So, Dan, I just want to comment real quick that on the professional side, you led us through, like you said, uncharted waters. But on a personal note, I was a 20-year-old looking to run for the board, to be the only person of color on this board. And I can't tell you how much confidence and how much support and how much just belief I got seeing you in as a person of color in your leadership position gave me the courage to run, to win, and to lead our district and do a better tomorrow. And I don't know if I would have had that confidence if it wasn't for you. So on a personal note, thank you so much for all of your years of service. And I'm very excited for you to experience life in post-retirement. So thank you so much and congratulations.
And I don't mean to make everybody think they needed to speak. We'll have time. He'll be here until August. No, that was very, very great. So I just went and didn't write anything and just kept going. So I hope that was okay.
So I
And
got
I'll do it
time.
again.
So I got
We'll do
time
it
for
again
like
in
a
August.
3-page.
Yes.
So I got time to write up a 3-page.
You can write your 3-page thing and,
Okay.
and we got our new hire back here and I want to gavel this thing. So any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Congratulations, sir. And I will put in way, way in the back of my mind that in 1982, Central Square failed to hire me. Oh. See this, 2 fingers, twice. Yeah, well, we'll talk sometime. That's all right. Anyway, we're all right. We're better off, I suppose, now. All right, I'm going to make a motion for executive session. We're going to move into that for the purpose of reviewing 1 personnel matter regarding the superintendent's search with action to follow, and 3 personnel matters with no action to follow, and also for the purpose of a Board of Education workshop that I requested after executive session. There's a motion, second from Mr. Herman. Any questions about that or discussions, additions, deletions? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? That is carried. And a motion for adjournment. Motion from Mr. Merzio, second from Mr. Ludden. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:16. Thank you very much.